Alrighty. Well, I should begin by saying Happy Thanksgiving, in case some of you that I didn't get a chance to officially say that to. Hope you all had a good holiday, and hope you all are ready to go. I guess those who are visiting from out of town, ready to go back and do whatever it is that you're doing. We're going to start a new series for the holidays, and I want to start by doing some interactive kinds of stuff. I want to do like a little survey. This is my form of scientific research right here, and I need everyone to raise their hands when I tell you to raise your hands, okay? Sometimes when I say raise your hands, there's some people who's embarrassed to raise your hands. But we are doing scientific research here, people. So we need everyone to answer honestly and completely the questions that I ask. Everyone with me? Okay. Our series is going to be called How to Get Rich. Or How to Be Rich, I'm sorry. And we're going to talk about everyone's favorite subject, which is being rich. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me ask you a question. How many of you, either when you were kids, okay, or when you were younger, or maybe even last week, okay, dreamed of being rich one day? Be honest, put them hands up. How many people dreamed of being rich? Come on, tell the truth. 100% of the hands went up. Okay, very, very good. Very good. So you're a normal person. Okay, now keep going with the hands. How many of you know someone today, either in this church or a friend of yours or something, who is today, you would consider him or her rich? How many know a rich person? Okay, very good. I would say, scientifically, 90%. Okay? Most people know a rich person. Now let me ask you this question. How many of you, and be honest, would consider yourself rich? Raise your hands. Okay, a few hands. Good. Very good. Put your hands down. Huh? Well, I'll get you on that one. Very good. So let me recap the summary of the results. 100% of the people said they want to be rich, or they had dreamed of being rich at some point. Probably 95% of the people here said they know someone who is rich. But less than half, probably I would have estimated about a third of the people would consider themselves rich. I guarantee you that those who didn't raise their hands as saying, I'm rich, do you think that someone else would consider you rich? What I'm saying is, for those who didn't raise their hands, is there a chance that you are the other person that someone else raised their hand about? That when I said, do you know someone else who's rich, that someone else said, yeah, raised their hand and was thinking about you. The thing seems to be possessed here. Either you didn't raise your hand because you're lying through your teeth and you're a flat-out liar, or we have differences in our definitions of what it means to be rich. And that's what someone asked right here. Most of us don't consider ourselves rich. Why? Because we think of someone else who is richer and we want what they have, and we say we're not rich because they're rich and we want what they have. Every one of us is that way. When I said who's rich, you thought about a person who is higher level than you in income or assets or whatever. And because you're not them, you said that you are not rich. Well, like I said a minute ago, what is rich? What is poor? And what's the difference between the two? Poor, I think we all have an understanding of what it means to be poor. Maybe we've seen poor people either on the TV, or we've gone on mission trips, or we've gone to inner city, or we've gone to Egypt or whatever. We have an idea of what it means to be poor. And we kind of have an idea of what it means to be rich, but the line that separates them is a little bit vague at times. Most of us, we'll see by the end of today, most of us will cross that line at some point in time in our lives between poor and rich, and most people won't even realize it. Unless you have, win the lottery one day, or unless you have a rich uncle who dies and leaves you a bunch of money, most likely you will gradually cross into that line from poor to rich, and you won't even know it. It's not like you're going to get paid on the 15th of the month, and on the 14th you were poor, and then on the 15th you got your check, and you say, well, now I'm a rich person. It's usually probably not going to be like that. The goal of this series is not going to be, unfortunately, to tell you how to get rich. There's a lot of people who can tell you how to get rich. I'm not going to tell you how to get rich because I'm not going to tell you how to get rich. But what I am going to tell you how to do is how to be rich. To be rich in a way that honors God. And in order to do that, we're going to look at a passage from 1 Timothy chapter 6. The essence of this passage, like the key to understanding this passage, is defining who is or what is rich. Read with me. Command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty, nor to trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God who gives us richly all things to enjoy. Let them do good and let them be rich in good works, ready to give, willing to share, storing up for themselves a good foundation for the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. Like I said a minute ago, the key to understanding this verse or this passage is defining what it means to be rich. Now, most of us, if we're honest, when we look at the Bible gives lots of commands to rich people. Most of us think those apply to other people. Most of us do not consider ourselves rich. Why? Because like I said a minute ago, because there's someone richer, and we consider that person rich. What is rich? If you had to come up with a definition of rich, rich is a moving target. Rich is not stationary. What you thought was rich years ago, you don't think is rich today. I'll give you an example. I'll speak about myself. Back when I was at school, back when I was in college, University of Virginia down in Charlottesville. Very good. The Wahoo's in the room. I was working at Superfresh. Okay, my sophomore year of school, Superfresh. And to this day, I say it exists, including my current job, my best job ever. Okay? It was just me, and I was unloading trucks, and I was bagging groceries and cutting boxes, and I was in heaven. Heaven, I loved it. But the one thing I didn't love about it was my salary. I made $9.50 an hour. Okay? Which back in the Stone Ages when I was working, it wasn't anything rich, but it wasn't anything bad either. I remember thinking to myself, there was people there who was salaried. And those salaried people were making like $30,000 a year. And I remember thinking to myself, man, if I could make $30,000 a year, I'd be rich. I'd be rich. I wouldn't need nothing else. I'd be rich. Eventually I graduated school, I got a real job, and my real job paid me a little bit under $40,000 per year. Higher than the mark which I said was rich. And I remember started working. I remember seeing the managers and those guys, and we had little talks about the salaries and stuff like that. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm making almost $40,000 a year. But man, the guy who was making 50, if I was making or even 55, then I'd really be rich. Then I wouldn't need anything. I would have all my needs taken care of if I could make $55,000 a year. I would be taken care of for life. I wouldn't need anything. I would be perfect. Then I got married. And that quickly changed my perspective on what it means to be rich. Okay? Had kids, and there's no such thing as rich anymore. Started to calculate all the different things that go into a house and utilities and weddings and honeymoons and presents and all this kinds of stuff, and quickly realized that rich, once again, moved on me. It moved. I saw it, I passed it, and then it jumped ahead of me again. And every step of life that we go through, we see a target that says rich, but then rich is a sneaky little son of a. So what he does is he jumps ahead, and he moves ahead of where we're standing. Gallup polls did a survey, and they asked people on the street, they did like a random survey, how much do you need to be rich? How much do you need to be rich? They asked how many hundreds of thousands of people that they asked. Let me summarize their results for you.